Hello and welcome to another video by Rick Miracle Me in my series Freemasonry and Satanism. I've been making, I think, some interesting videos lately talking about different topics, concerns, things going on in the world, things that might be going on in our future. Anyways, I made a video earlier today, and apparently I forgot to plug in the microphone. So I sat there for an hour, speaking away. When I went to review my video, there was no volume, no voice. So I had to take a break. I don't think I'll talk about a different book than the one I was talking about. I get so annoyed when I make a mistake. I guess everybody has experienced something like that at one time or another. So today I want to make another video on this book. Proofs of a Conspiracy by John Robison. Published in 1798. Proofs of a Conspiracy. If you want to know about the creation of the Illuminati and who are they and what do they plan on doing, you can watch part 1. Regrettably, I can't talk about everything in one video. It takes a while. And I like to read some of the exact words so it's not my interpretation, to give the viewer, you, a little bit more credibility in what I'm saying. You can formulate what you think if I read from the pages here instead of just making a synopsis. So anyways, part 2, Proofs of a Conspiracy by John Robison, 1798. And just a short synopsis. So around 1750, 1760, 1776, wasn't that when the United States signed the Declaration of Independence? Well, about that same time, the Rothschilds, the banksters, the Zionists, part of this mystery religion organization, gave Adam Wusthof, a ex-Jesuit. The Catholic Church had banned the Jesuits, disbanded them. But anyways, so Adam Wusthof was a disgruntled man, and he took upon himself the task of putting together a new organization, secret mystery religion, might be into the Luciferic, Satanic, and other ancient god religion, called the Illuminati. That's the short story. So I think the words from this book will speak for themselves. I'm going to start right here. As you know, I highlight and make notes of what I do. I pre-read before I read. So the great object of the order was held as superior to every consideration. So the great object of the Illuminati was held superior to every consideration. They concluded by saying that the method of education made them all spies on each other and on all around them. That's how the Jesuits behaved. So they were taking these same teachings with the Illuminati. But all this was denied by the Illuminati. Some of them were said to be absolutely false, and the rest were said to be a mistake. The apostate professors, the professors that were initiated into this new cult, had acknowledged their ignorance of many things. 2 of them were only Minervas, another was an Illuminatus, and these are the lower class of the beginning level of the Illuminati. Just like Freemasons, at the lower level, you know nothing, what's really going on. And even Albert Pike said that. They don't tell people what's really going on in these organizations till they get up into the high degrees. In the low degrees, they tell them they're serving mankind. They believe in God, in the Bible. But of course, if the lodge is in the Middle East, they believe in Muhammad and Islam. And if it's in China, they believe in Buddha and Buddhist. And if it's in Hindu, Shiva and all those gods. So depending on where they are, they embrace that religion. It's a false front. Many people know this. Pamphlets appeared on both sides with little effect. The elector, that would be like in the United States, we have a president. And in Israel, they have a prime minister. So back then in Germany and that area, they had something called an elector. Called before him one of the superiors of the Illuminati, a young nobleman who denied these injurious charges and said that they were ready to lay before His Highness their whole archives and all constitutional papers. All right, continuing on. Notwithstanding all this, the government had received such an impression of the dangerous tendency of the order that the elector issued another edict, forbidding all hidden assemblies, and a third expressly abolishing the order of the Illuminati. Man, it's too bad they couldn't have pulled that off. We wouldn't be where we are today. It was followed by a search after their papers. The Lodge Theodore was immediately searched, but none were to be found, no papers. They said now they had burnt them all as of no use since the order was at an end. So the people, the Illuminati members, said because you banned our order, we burned all the papers. The phone ringeth. It was now discovered that Wusthof was the head of the founder of the Order of the Illuminati. He was deprived of his professor's chair and banished from the Bavarian states. So the elector found out that this professor, Wusthof, an ex-Jesuit, was the founder of the order. But he was banished from the Bavarian states, but with a pension of 800 florins, which he refused. He went to Riesenberg on the confines of Switzerland. I bet Switzerland regrets that now. Two Italians, the Marquis Costanza and Marquis Salvioli, were also banished with equal pensions, about 40 florins, I guess, which they accepted. One Zwack, a counselor, I guess a lawyer, holding some law office, was also banished. Others were imprisoned for some times. Wusthof went afterwards into the service of the Duke of Saxe-Goth, a person of romantic turn of mind, whom we shall again meet with. Zwack went into the service of Professor de Slams, who soon after had so great a hand in the disturbances of Holland. So I suppose these Illuminati have been causing lots of disturbances all over the world. And they were the ones who negotiated with the governments on behalf of the Zionist Jewish people to get the Palestinians land for the creation of Israel. And that means they had a hand in bringing about World War I and World War II. And apparently these same people were behind 9/11. And apparently these same people are bringing us candidates for president, like the last election with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And previously probably the Bush family and the Clintons and all the other ones. They control our world. We have these Freemasonic lodges in all of our cities all across the country, and apparently they're in cities all around the world. This is no small thing that's being undertaken for this global world order, as you shall hear if I keep reading. By destroying the papers, all opportunity was lost for the authenticating the innocence and usefulness of the order. After much altercation and paper war, Wüsthof, now safe in Regensburg, published an account of the order, namely, an account which was given to every novice in a discourse read at his reception. So every new initiate into the order was given this paper about the history of the Illuminati. To this were added the statutes and the rules proceeding as far as the degrees of the Illuminatus Minor, inclusive. This accounts, he affirmed, to be conformed to real practice of the order. But this publication did by no means satisfy the public mind. It differed exceedingly from the accounts given by the four professors. So they came up with a nice document that said they were benevolent and had good intentions. But the public wasn't buying it because it didn't match with the testimonies of the four previous accused professors. It made no mention of the higher degrees, this new document, which had been blamed by them. Besides, it was alleged that it was all a fiction, written in order to lull the suspicions which had been raised. And this was found to be the case except in respect to the lower degrees. The real constitution was brought to light by degrees. So the higher you move up in degrees in these organizations, then you begin to learn the real aims of these organizations. And what you shall see is nothing less than a world global rulership order. And shall be laid before the reader in the order in which it was gradually discovered. So the information is going to be unfolded here in these pages. That we may better judge of things not fully known by the conduct of the leaders during the detection. The first account given by Wüsthof is correct, as far as I shall make use of it. That would be this author, John Robison, and shows clearly the methods that were taken to recommend the order to strangers. So how do you recruit people into this Illuminati? The order of the Illuminati appears as an accessory to Freemasonry. That's what it says here. I better show you. On the bottom line, the order of the Illuminati appears to be an accessory, top page here, to Freemasonry. So there you have that. In 1798, Proofs of a Conspiracy by a well-known author, John Robison. I'll continue on. It is in the lodges of Freemasons that the Minervas are found. So in the Freemason lodges, all over the world, one in your city, is where they find the recruits for the Illuminati. So I suspect they have to check the character of people. Like if I joined, and they would probably let me join, and being a Christian or a person who would not do evil to other people, I would move up a few degrees and be part of the association, and everything would be wonderful. But if you're deemed to be a character who will follow and do anything they tell you, be complicit in trying to create a world global order, kill people even, well then you're going to move up, and quickly. Maybe even be president. Just saying. That's what it says here. So it's Freemasons' lodges are where the Minervas are found. That would be the recruits for the Illuminati. And there they are prepared for illumination. They must have previously obtained the 3 English degrees. The founder says more. He says that his doctrines are the only true Freemasonry. He was the chief promoter of the electric system. This he urged as the best method for getting information of all the explanations which have been given of the Masonic mysteries. So they have Masonic mysteries. He also was a strict observant and an adept Rosicrucians. keep mentioning the Rosicrucians. It's another occult organization. I believe Abraham Lincoln was at one time a leader of the Rosicrucians for the whole United States, as well as, I believe, a lawyer, and he became president. But I read that in a Rosicrucian book that he was a one-time top leader in the United States. Like Albert Pike was the top leader of the Freemasons Scottish Rite for the whole southern jurisdiction of the United States. He became a general in the war between the North and the South, a general for the South. And after the war, the president of the North during the Civil War pardoned him because Albert Pike was actually his master. The president of the North was a Freemason also. So a lot of unfair advantages these people give each other. And that's another topic for another day. Suffice it to say, if you go to court, try to pretend you're a Freemason, because likely the judge is. One of the symbols is raising your hands like you surrender. And the judge will recognize you as a Mason and let you off. So I understand it. Part of my research. The results of all his knowledge is worthy of particular remark and shall therefore be given at large. All right, listen to this. I declare, says he, and I challenge all mankind to contradict my declaration, that no man can give any account of the order of Freemasonry, of its origin and its history, of its object, nor any explanation of its mysteries and symbols. Wow. Which does not leave the mind in total uncertainty on these points. Every man is entitled, therefore, to give any explanation of the symbols and any system of the doctrines that he can render palatable. Hence have sprung up the variety of systems which for 20 years have divided the order. The simple tale of the English, and the 50 degrees of the French, and the Knights of the Baron Hundy are equally authentic, and have equally had support of intelligent and zealous brethren. These systems are, in fact, but one. They have all sprung from the Blue Lodge of 3 degrees. Take these for their standard, and found on these all the improvements by which each system is afterwards suited to a particular object which keeps it in view. There is no man nor system in the world which can show an undoubted succession that it should stand at the head of the order. Our ignorance of this particular frets me. But do consider, sorry about my reading, but do consider our short history of 120 years. Who will show me the Mother Lodge? Those of London we have discovered to be self-erected in 1716. Ask for their archives. They will tell you they were burnt. They have nothing but the wretched sophistications of the Englishman Anderson and the Frenchman Disgulius. Where is the Lodge of York, which pretends to be priority, with their King Boudin and the archives that he brought from the East? These too are all burnt. Where is the chapter of Old Aberdeen and its holy clericate, Clericate? Did we not find it unknown? And the Master Lodges, there is the most ignorant of all, the ignorant gaping for instruction from our deputies. So all these lodges everywhere don't know the roots of their foundation, and they're all seeking instruction for somebody of what they're really supposed to be all about. They had all these secret mystery lodges and temples and organizations. So says Adam Mustafa, I guess, here. Did we not find the same thing at London? And have not their missionaries been among us, prying into our mysteries, and eager to learn from us what is true Freemasonry? It is in vain, therefore, to appeal to judges, They are nowhere to be found. All claim for themselves the scepter of the order. All indeed are on equal footing. They obtained followers, not for their authenticity, but from their conduciveness to the end which they proposed, and from the importance of that end. It is by this scale that we must measure the mad and wicked explanations of the Rosicrucians, the exorcists, and the Kabbalists. I'll read that again. So nobody knows what their organizations are all about. It is by this scale that we must measure the mad, the wicked explanations of the Rosicrucians, the exorcist, and the Kabbalist. These are rejected by all good Masons because incompatible with social happiness. Only such systems as promote this are retained, but alas, they are all sadly deficient, because they leave us under the dominion of political and religious prejudice, and they are as inefficient as the sleepy dose of an ordinary sermon. The sleepy dose of an ordinary sermon. So I guess if you go to church and you listen to the priest or the minister, you're going to get a sleepy dose of an ordinary sermon. Just these interesting words, you kind of get a gist of where their mindset is coming from. All right, continuing on. But I have contrived an explanation which has every advantage, is inviting to Christians of every communion, gradually frees them from all religious prejudices, cultivates the social values, animates them by a great, a feasible, and speedy prospect of universal happiness, in a state of liberty and moral equality, freed from the obstacles which subordinate rank and riches and continually throw in our way. My explanation is accurate and complete. My means are effectual and irresistible. Our secret association works in a way that nothing can withstand, and man shall soon be free and happy. So to try to make mankind free and happy, so far they brought us French Revolution, World War I, World War II, 9/11. And to make us all free and happy, they're going to bring us World War III and a world government. Oh my. This is the great object held out by this association, and the means of attaining it is illumination, enlightening the understanding by the sun of reason, which will dispel the clouds of superstition and of prejudice. The proficients in this order are therefore justly named the Illuminati. And of the illumination which human reason can give, none is comparable to the discovery of what we are, our nature, our obligations, what happiness we are capable of, and what are the means of attaining it. In comparison with this, the most brilliant sciences are but amusements for the idle and the luxurious. To fit man by illumination for active virtue, to engage him to it by the strongest motives, to render the attainment of it easy and certain by finding employment for every talent, and by placing every talent in its proper sphere of action, so that all, without feeling any extraordinary effort, and in conjunction with and completion of ordinary business, shall urge forward the uniting powers, the general task. This indeed will be an employment suited to noble natures, grand in its views, and delightful in its exercise. And what is this general object? The happiness of the human race. It is not distressing to a generous mind, after contemplating what human nature is capable of, to see how little we enjoy. When we look at this goodly world and see that every man may be happy, but that the happiness of one depends on the conduct of another. When we see the wicked so powerful and the good so weak, and that it is in vain to strive singularly and alone against the general current of vice and oppression. With the wish naturally arises in the mind that it were possible to form a durable combination of the most worthy persons who should work together to remove the obstacles of human happiness. Become terrible to the wicked, give them aid to all the good without distinction, should by the most powerful means first fetter, by the fettering lessen vice, means of which same time should promote virtue, by rendering the inclination to rectitude hereto too feeble, more powerful and engaging. Would not such an association be a blessing to the world? Sound a little confusing? But where are the proper persons, the good, the generous, and the accomplished to be found? And how and by what strong motives are they to be induced to engage in a task so vast, so incessant, so difficult, so laborious? This association must be gradual. There are some such persons to be found in every society. Such noble minds will be engaged by the heartwarming object. The first task of the association must therefore be form the young members. As these multiply and advance, they become the apostles of the beneficence, and the work is now on foot and advances with the speed increasing every day. The slightest observation shows that nothing will so much contribute to increase the zeal of the members as a secret union. So I guess you bring these people into a secret goal, the happiness of the human race, and it's all a secret plot, and apparently it increases the zeal, stimulates people's thinking. A secret plot. We see with the keenness and zeal of the frivolous business of Freemasonry is conducted by persons knit together by the secrecy of their union. It is needless to inquire into the cause of this zeal which secrecy produces. It is a universal fact, confirmed by the history of every age. Let this circumstance of our Constitution therefore be directed to this noble purpose, and then all the objections urged against it by jealous tyranny and affrighted superstitions will vanish. The order will thus work silently and securely, and through the generous benefactors of the human race are thus deprived of the applause of the world. They have the noble pleasure of seeing their work prosper in their hands. Such is the aim, and such are the hopes of the order of the Illuminati. Let us see how these were able to be accomplished. We cannot judge precisely of this, because the account given of the constitution of the order by its founder includes only the lowest degree, and even this is suspected to be fictitious. False. The account given by the four professors, even of this part of the order, make a very different impression on the mind, although they differ only in a few particulars. The only ostensible members of the order were the Minervers. They were to be found in the lodges of Freemasons. A candidate for admission must make his wish known to some Minerva. He reports it to a superior, who by a channel to be explained presently, intimidates it to be to the council. So if you want to be joining the Illuminati and become a Minerva, you have to tell another Minerva who reports it to the higher-ups. No notice is further taken of it for some time. The candidate is carefully observed in silence. And if therefore unfit for the order, no notice is taken of his solicitation. But if otherwise, the candidate receives privately an invitation to a conference. Here he meets with a person unknown to him, and previous to all further conference, he is required to peruse and to sign the following oath. To peruse and sign the following oath. So I'll read the oath now. I, and he uses his name, hereby bind myself by mine honor and good name, forswearing all mental reservation, never to reveal, by hint, word, writing, or in any manner whatever, even to my most trusted friend, anything that shall now be said or done to me respecting my wished for reception, and this whether my reception shall follow or not. I being previously assured that it shall contain nothing contrary to religion, the state, nor good manners, I promise that I shall make no intelligible extract from any papers which shall be shown me, now or during my novitiate. All this I swear, as I am, and as I hope to continue, a man of honor. That's the oath. The urbanity of this protestation must agreeably impress the mind of a person who recollects the dreadful implications which he made at his reception into the different ranks of Freemasonry. So when you join the Freemasons and you go to the first degree, the second degree, and the third degree, you're blindfolded. They put a dagger through your chest, and you swear under oath, threat of death, an oath, that if you divulge the secrets, they'll cut your throat. In the second degree, they cut your stomach open and spill your guts on a beach. Each higher degree, it gets more horrific. So they can recollect those things they swore to previously. The candidate is then introduced to an Illuminatus dirigens, whom perhaps he knows. So he's introduced to a higher level Illuminatus, and is told that this person is to be his future instructor. There is now presented to the candidate what they call a table, in which he writes his name, place of birth, age, rank, place of residence, profession, favorite studies. He is then made to read several articles of this table. It contains first a very concise account of the order, its connection with Freemasonry, and its great object. So how many people out there have I talked to over the years that say the Illuminati's got nothing to do with the Freemasons? And I've got comments in my comment section. Don't be talking about the Rosicrucians. They got nothing to do with the Freemasons. Well, I hate to say it, these secret societies and organizations are all connected, even though they may be competing with each other for superiority, even viciously. They're all into the same evil mystery religion, demon worship, Luciferic, satanic, anti-Christian, anti-God, pro-fallen angel. So I have figured out during my research. But let me not be the one to say that. I just keep on reading and go look at my previous videos. It all speaks for itself. Watch other people's videos and the symbols and the rituals, Super Bowl halftime shows, Emmys, Grammys, tunnel openings, the ceremony at CERN. All of us have seen these bizarre things going on and on and on. What are we to think when these people control our world? The promoting of happiness of mankind by means of instruction and confirmation in virtuous principles. Number 2, several questions relative to the order. Among these are what advantage he hopes to derive from being a member, what he most particularly wishes to learn, what delicate questions related to life, the prospects, the duty of man as an individual and as a citizen he wishes to have particularly discussed to him, in what respects he thinks he can be of use to the order. Who are his ancestors, his relatives, friends, correspondents, enemies, whom he thinks proper persons to be received into the order, whom he thinks unfit for it, and the reasons for both opinions. To each of these questions he must give some answer in writing. The novice and his mentor are known only to each other. Perhaps nothing more follows upon this. If otherwise, the mentor appoints another conference and begins his instruction by giving him in detail certain portions of the Constitution of the Illuminati and of the fundamental rules of the order. Of these, the novice must give a weekly account in writing. He must also read in the mentor's house a book containing more of the instructions of the order. But he must make no extracts. Can't copy anything down. Yet from this reading he must derive all his knowledge. He must give an account in writing of his progress. All writings received from his superiors must be returned with a stated punctuality. These writings consist chiefly of important and delicate questions, suited either to the particular inclination or to the particular taste which the candidate has discovered in his subscription of the articles of the table and in his former rescripts, or to the direction which the mentor wishes to give him his thoughts. So he's kind of pointed in different directions as what he's supposed to learn, kind of depending on the type of character and what his aspirations are. So they want to use them for their purposes. So I could continue on with all that training and all that information, but I want to move on to something else in this book. When they did raid some of the Freemasonic lodges or the Lodge Theodore or some of these other people's offices, they did find some letters from these Illuminati high-level leaders who were giving them names like Spartacus and Cato. Maybe you've heard about these things. I think President George Bush Jr. was calling himself Spartacus. So they have these names they make up. Well, back then they found some letters, and this was to Spartacus to Cato on February 6th, 1778. So we know how they recruit people and all that, and how it all started by a disgruntled Jesuit because they shut down the Jesuit order. And that's another whole sinister story in itself. The Jesuits were an order created by Ignatius Loyola, who was a Marrano, and a Marrano was a Jewish person in Spain, where the church in Spain banished all Jews except those who converted to Christianity could stay in Spain. And they did, but in name only. They were Jews converted to Christianity so they could stay. They were called Marranos. And a lot of them were arrested because they were found practicing the Jewish religion and other things like that, fake Christians. And Ignatius Loyola was brought before the Pope on one of these charges. And apparently when he left the Vatican, the Order of the Jesuits was created. So who knows what kind of deal Adam Weishaupt made with the Vatican. And the Jesuits became the Black Pope or the Black Priest, and were the assassins for the church. And I have just acquired that book, The Vatican's Assassins. And also, just FYI, the current Pope Francis was a Jesuit. Just a little background in history, and it was the Jesuits, when their order was barred and disbanded, created the Illuminati, and they were crypto-Jewish people into this mystery religion. You get an aha moment here. But how about this letter from Spartacus to Cato? As a subordinate object, I shall endeavor to gain security to ourselves, a backing in case of misfortunes, and assistance from without. I shall therefore press the cultivation of science, especially such sciences as may have an influence on our reception in the world. And we serve to remove obstacles out of the way. We have to struggle with pedantry, with intolerance, with divines and statesmen. So they have to tolerate with the churches and the political leaders. And above all, princes and priests are in our way. Men are unfit as they are and must be formed. Men are unfit as they are and they must be formed. Each class must be the school of trial for the next. This will be tedious because of its hazardous. In the last classes, I propose academies under the direction of the order. This will secure us the adherence of the literae, educated people. Science shall here be the lore. Science shall be the lore. Only those who are assuredly proper subjects shall be picked out from among the inferior classes of the higher mysteries. Rosicrucians, Freemasons, Knights of Malta, Knights of Columbus. Only those who are assuredly proper subjects shall be picked out from among the inferior classes of the higher mysteries, which contain the first principles and means of promoting a happy life. No religionist must, on any account, be admitted into these, for here we work at the discovery and extirpation of superstition and prejudices. They want to destroy the religions. The instructions shall be so conducted that each shall disclose what he thinks he conceals within his own breast, what are his ruling propensities and passions, and how far he has advanced in the command of himself. This will answer all the purposes of auricular confession, and in particular every person shall be made a spy on another and on all around him. Nothing can escape our sight. And in particular, every person shall be made a spy on another, and on all around him. Nothing can escape our sight. Oh boy, with the artificial intelligence computer and the 5G network and the smart TVs and smart iPads and smart cell phones and smart everything. Smart refrigerator might even be listening to us. Your smart car might be listening to you. And some beast computers monitoring everything you say. Just saying, these people are the ones in control of the world right now. By these means, we shall readily discover who are contended, and receive with relish the particular state doctrines and religious opinions that are laid before them, and at last the trustworthy alone will be admitted to a particular patient of the whole maxims and the political constitution of the order. Pardon some of my pronunciations of some of these words. I would probably render that a lot of people can't say this participation in the whole maxims and the political constitutions of the order. And the word partissa is on one line and patient is on another line. In a council composed of such members, we shall labor at the contrivance of means to drive by degrees the enemies of reason and of humanity out of the world. All right, we shall labor at the contrivance of means to drive by degrees the enemies of reason and of humanity out of the world. So the enemies of reason, the people who believe in religion or the system of politics, are not their people who believe in reason. The enemies of reason and humanity out of this world. And to establish a particular morality and religion fitted for the great society of mankind. I better show you that. On the bottom line, to drive by degrees the enemies of reason and of humanity out of the world, and to establish a particular morality and a religion fitted for the great society of mankind back in 1778, in this letter from Spartacus to Cato on their plans. They're talking about a great society of mankind, and they want to get rid of the religious and political leaders, and they have a new political morality. And we can kind of all see what it is. Go down to your city park and streets on Friday night, and all the other evil things they're doing, the murdering with all the wars, the intention to depopulate the planet, Monsanto genetically modified foods, dumping chemicals in the sky, toxins in the vaccines, fluoride in the water. These people control our world, these secret societies. Does anybody doubt that? But this is a ticklish project and requires the utmost circumspection. The squeamish will start at the sight of the religious and political novelties, and they must be prepared for them. We shall be particularly careful about the books which we recommend. I shall confine them at first to the moralist and the reasoning historians. This will prepare for a patient reception in the higher classes of works of a bolder flight, such as the Robinet's Système de la Nature, Politique Naturelle, Philosophy de la Nature, System Social, the writings of Mirabeau. Helvetus is fit only for the strongest stomachs. So the Philosophies de la Nature and the Système de la Nature, the sciences of nature, i.e. witchcraft, and is fit for only the strongest stomachs. If anyone has a copy already, neither praise nor find fault with him. Say nothing on such subjects of entrance, for we don't know how they will be received. Folks are not yet prepared. Folks are not yet prepared. Marius, an excellent man, must be dealt with. His stomach, which cannot yet digest such strong food, must acquire a better tone. The allegory on which I am to found the mysteries of the higher orders is the fire worship of the Magi. Better read that again. The allegory on which I am to found the mysteries of the higher orders is the fire worship of the Magi. Fire worship of the Magi. Does that sound like witchcraft? Magi, magician, fire worship, sacrificing children, people. We must have some worship, and none is so opposite. Let there be light, and there shall be light. This is my motto, and it is my fundamental principle. The degrees will be Fura Odin, Parson Order, all very practical. In the course, though, there will be no stat ben. This is the answer given to one who solicits preferment and is refused. For I engage that none shall enter this class who has not laid aside his prejudices. No man is fit for our order who is not a Brutus or a Catiline and is not ready to go every length. Tell me how you like this. So that was Spartacus to Cato. So I got another letter here, Spartacus to Cato, March 1778, and that was in February 6th, 1778. Well, it's starting to rain outside, so I'll end this video. It's at 50 minutes. I will continue reading from this book and making additional videos. So thank you for watching my video. Rick Miracle reporting.